The night was heavy with unspoken pain, the kind that makes the air itself feel suffocating. Every word that fell from her lips cut deeper than the last, slicing open wounds I hadn't even known were there. Her voice trembled, then broke into a scream. I regret every moment with you. The sound tore through the room, bouncing off the walls that once held warmth, laughter, and whispered comfort. For a long heartbeat, I couldn't move. I just stood there, trying to make sense of how the woman I once adored had become this stranger drenched in rage. The ring on my finger suddenly felt unbearable. A symbol turned burden. It had once represented vows, shared dreams, and a future we'd painted together. Now it was just metal and memory. I looked at her, really looked, and the regret on her face rewrote every moment we'd shared. The smiles, the quiet nights, the easy intimacy, all of it crumbled to ash in that single glance. My hands tightened, the metal pressing into my skin as anger burned through the fog of disbelief. How did we end up here? The signs had been there, I realized. The distance in her eyes, the laughter that no longer reached me, the conversations that started and died in the same breath. I had chosen to believe in us, to trust her, but trust is fragile. And hers had just shattered beyond repair. And then clarity. I slipped the ring off and placed it on the table between us. The small metallic clink sounded louder than her shouting ever could. Sharp, final. My voice came out calm, stripped of emotion, but unwavering. Then it's over. For good. The words hung in the air, heavy and absolute. For the first time that night, I felt still, like the chaos had burned itself out, leaving only a cold, certain resolve. She stared at me, eyes wide, as if she hadn't expected calm, as if she'd braced herself for begging, for anger, for anything but silence. But silence can be deafening. She trembled slightly, and I could see the moment her control slipped. For too long, I had carried the weight of trying to fix what was never mine to mend. And in that instant, I finally set it down. I turned away and began pacing, each step echoing through the tense quiet. Every movement felt deliberate, like I was leaving behind not just her, but the version of myself who had tolerated slow heartbreak in the name of love. I thought of all those late-night conversations about the future, words that once felt sacred, now ringing hollow. Not lies, exactly, but truths that hadn't survived reality. Her voice broke the silence, soft and desperate. You can't just... I stopped her with a quiet shake of my head. Words meant nothing now. They were too fragile to mend what had already splintered. She tried to speak again, to fill the void between us. But I let the silence swallow her attempts. There was nothing left to save. Love, I realized, isn't only about forgiveness. It's also about knowing when to stop bleeding for someone who keeps cutting you open. She collapsed onto the couch, her sobs rippling through the room like distant thunder after a storm. I watched for a moment, not out of cruelty, but with a strange acceptance. This was the price of neglect, of words left unsaid, of promises slowly eroded. I had loved her with everything I had, but love, without respect or honesty, is only a ghost of what it should be. I walked past her, feeling lighter with each step. Our story had reached its last page, and not every ending deserves a gentle fade. Sometimes it ends mid-sentence. Sharp, irreversible. The air shifted as I neared the door, thick with finality, but laced with freedom. Freedom, not from her, but from the weight of trying to hold together something that was already gone. I turned once, just long enough to see her face streaked with tears. Smaller, somehow, fragile in her realization. A pang of sadness hit me, but not regret. Sadness watches. Regret clings. I opened the door and stepped into the cool night. The air felt clean, almost kind. For the first time in years, I felt unchained. Free from the suffocating weight of a love that had stopped being love long ago. The past was behind me. The choice was made. And forward. Forward was all that remained. Some endings hurt? Yes. But pain, I've learned, can also be a doorway. And sometimes walking away is the only way to truly heal.